Hey, what's up guys? Andrew here, and today we are going to review The Legend of Zelda: The Ocarina of Time 3D. Now, this is actually the first time I ever played this game, even though it's been out for almost 20 years. I never had a Nintendo 64 when I was a kid. See, my neighbor did, but the only games we really played was Mario 64 and Pokemon Stadium. So really, it's been a long time coming that I played this game, but I can't wait to tell you guys all about it. So a little bit of backstory. Long ago, three goddesses created the land of Hyrule and all of its inhabitants. When they were done creating this world, they left. But behind was the Triforce, a symbol of their power left behind in the Sacred Realm. Anyways, the story begins with you. You're a young boy in a town where everyone has a fairy partner. Except for you, that is. But this all changes when you meet Navi, and you set out to see the world of Hyrule. As your journey begins, you meet the Princess of Hyrule, Princess Zelda, and she sets you off on a mission to collect 3 spiritual stones. That's right folks, this is a Zelda game, so you're going to be collecting things and then collecting some more things. They like collecting in this game. Anyways, you need to get these 3 stones, which acts as a cool device to get you familiar with the land of Hyrule and all of its inhabitants, such as the Gorons and the Zoras. Long story short, shit hits the fan. Zelda is seen fleeing the city from Ganondorf, the king's evil advisor. Basically, think of Ganondorf as the Jafar of this game. So anyways, Zelda tossed down an Ocarina of Time, which allows you to time travel. Yep, you enter the Temple of Time and take out the Master Sword. See, you're ready to kick ass right now, except you're not, because you're frozen in time for 7 years, and when you awaken, it's pretty rough. By the time you awaken, it's a terrible dark future. Ganondorf has taken over while you were gone, and it's basically up to you to fix what's happened. You have to travel Hyrule, rescue 7 sages so you can seal Ganondorf away once and for all. However, you're going to be doing this with the mysterious Sheik, who will pop in and out of your adventure and give you a little boost in power or teach you something cool. So you have quite the adventure of a lifetime started up for you, and you're just going to love it. Alright, so I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a backstory without spoiling too much of the game, because believe it or not, even though this game is really old, I didn't really have too much of a clue about what happened in the story. Obviously I knew the main factors, like I'm sure many of you do who haven't played, but there really is a lot to explore, so I just suggest you figure this out yourself. Anyways, let's talk about the gameplay. Now, Legend of Zelda has always had a pretty good gameplay system, and this is no exception. So now, this game came out for the Nintendo 64, and being ported to the 3DS, it just got more and more streamlined. You have a hotkey system on the lower screen of your DS, which really comes in handy because there's so many items in the Zelda games, and you get to hotkey an item to the Y button, the X button, and also 2 buttons that aren't actually buttons, but you can touch them on the screen to get the item out. So really, it keeps you in the action for a long time. Not to mention that the bottom screen acts as your inventory, your map. I think it shows your songs that you can play too. So it's a very streamlined process. You don't have to start and scroll through a bunch of menus and all that kind of stuff. You stay in the game for a good amount of time, which is good. Now let's talk about the Ocarina of Time, which the game is named after, the actual instrument you get from Zelda, and we'll talk about Navi a little bit, because both do some pretty cool things. Now the Ocarina is pretty much like you can do whatever you want. You can time travel, you can teleport to different locations, you can call your horse, you can make it rain. Yep, you can make it rain in Zelda. And yeah, it's really cool. Not to mention Navi, who has a reputation on the internet for being pretty annoying, but to be honest, I didn't really find her too bad when I was playing the game. Yeah, she'll be like, hey, listen, look, but she doesn't do it that often, and it is helpful because you use her to target. So like, you'll hold the L button and she'll hover over an enemy and you'll basically be L targeting them, or Z targeting if you're playing the N64. Navi's very useful because there's a point in the game, I'm not going to say when you can't use Navi, and it's just a total bitch. But even when you can't use Navi, that's a perfect segue into the gyroscope. Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D uses the Nintendo 3DS's gyroscope to help you aim, and it's amazing. I personally used it a lot, even though, to be honest, you're literally aiming like this. Like, you're shooting, but you're looking. So you look like you're crazy looking around, and my friends really made fun of me for it, but it's a lot better than just doing this. And as long as I'm talking about things that I liked in the game, I loved the diversity that Hyrule got in this game. To be honest, I feel like Ocarina of Time had the most diverse incarnation of Hyrule because you had the Gorons, the Zoras, Kakariko Village, the Kokiris, and I know Twilight Princess also had these as well. Oh yeah, and the Gerudos as well. But I feel like Ocarina of Time gave them all more of a solid feeling to them. Yeah, I mean, sure, in Majora's Mask they all come back, but this is one of the first times we get them, and it's really cool. And I just love traveling around Hyrule. They're all different places. So as long as we're talking about things I liked in this game, let's talk about the time travel. I love time travel, especially because throughout the game, like I said earlier, you have to travel back to the past when you were a child and into the dark future where Ganon has taken over. You have to go back and forth to accomplish something as simple as going to a shop or getting a new song for the Ocarina. It's a nice aspect to the game, and I really like that they use the hell out of it. Also, I love the diversity of Hyrule in this game. Now, I know Twilight Princess is also very diverse of Hyrule, but Ocarina of Time was one of the first games where we had the different races all having their own zone, so to speak, in the map. You had the Gerudos in the desert, the Gorons in their Death Mountain, the Zoras in Zora's Domain, and the Kokiris where you start off. And it was cool because each little chunk of the game had its own identity. I really enjoyed that. And lastly, of the things that I loved, this is probably the thing I loved the most, was that even though this game is so old, I was surprised with so many things story-wise. I mean, there were so many memes out there, so many videos, everyone's talking about it, but I feel like almost this game is so huge that it's hard to spoil what comes in between. I mean, we obviously know you confront Ganondorf, you're the hero of time, every other game, lives up to your standard, but you don't know the journey, and the journey's the best part. This game is really adventure-focused, journey-focused, and story-driven, and my god, I am glad I played this game. Now let's talk about the verdict, shall we? First things first, I'm doing away with the number system. I'm not going to be reviewing bad games, so I don't really need a number system. If there's plenty of other YouTubers that do that. I'm reviewing games that I personally enjoyed playing, and I'd like to spread the word of them to other people so the game can, be played by as many people as possible. So because of that, we're not going to have any number systems. I'm just going to say that the Ocarina of Time is a masterpiece, and you have absolutely no reason why you should not be able to play it. If you've played it already, great on you. You're one of the people that inspired me to play it. If you haven't, there's so many platforms that it's on right now. You can get an emulator on your computer. You can get it on the 3DS like I did. You could dig it up on the N64. Or you could download it on the Virtual Console for the Wii. Also, I think you can play it on the GameCube. Very rare to get your hands on a copy, but I believe they're out there. So there's no excuse why you shouldn't be playing this game, people. It's amazing. Like I said, Ocarina of Time is a masterpiece, and I'm very glad I got to play it. In retrospect, this game has so much hype. Just hyping it up, it's the hypiest of hype Zelda games. And I feel like that's a lot of blind nostalgia driving that. But my case is interesting because I first experienced it a couple weeks ago, so I didn't have any of that nostalgia backing it up, and I really did like it. Was it my favorite Legend of Zelda game? Well, that, my friends, that's going to be a video for another time. I'm Andrew, and I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you share it with your friends, and go play Legend of Zelda. It's an amazing series.